Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for coming and participating here. I'm really happy to see here everyone. Some well-known, not names, but not faces, but names, because I can see some names of my students here. So I'm really happy to see them here. And also, yeah, thank you so much for the amazing introduction. I think that was enough. It is really hard to talk a lot about myself, but I see some hearts there. It's really hard to talk about myself because I've really been done a lot of stuff. But yeah, most of the times, I'm driven by curiosity and doing new things. So yeah, that's pretty much, a little bit about my story. Can you see my screen well?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, okay. So let's cut to the chase and start talking about our agenda. This is what I want to cover. This is like a tentative one. However, the focus here, even though we have a Q&A session, I would love to have your questions in between my talk. So if anything comes up, let me know, and I will ask you some questions. If you want to participate, feel free to do so. So yeah, I will start talking about how to start your website. So what are some best options in the market and how you start with your planning process? This is all based on the questions that you sent me. Of course, I couldn't cover all of them, but I tried to do as much as possible. Then I'm going to talk about user experience, which is how to create a good information architecture for your website, UX writing, or how to write the best way so you can convince people to click stuff on stuff, for example, and accessibility as well. And then at the end, I'll talk about SEO. I'll show you some tools for diagnosis, and mostly I will be showing you a lot of tools for you today that you can use with more if you have more or less knowledge. You'll see that you have some that are for beginners and some for more advanced users. And yeah, I'll send you the slides so you can have them forever as well. So yeah, you can have access to these ones after too. So let's start with the basics, right? How to start your website. When starting a website, there are a few questions you should ask yourself. First one is like, what's the main objective I need with my website? Then what's going to be my domain name? What host is ideal for my project, and which development platform should I choose? I'm gonna delve into all of those in detail right now. So first one is, what's the main objective of the website? Um, you might have more than one. However, you need to have at least one that is like the main objective for people visiting your website. Is it sales? Is it awareness? Is it lead generation? So, for example, would you like to have people visiting your website just to put their contact information so you can follow up later with email marketing or something of the sort? Is it portfolio or product showcase? Is it building a community? Is it having reservations for your restaurant? So you have to think about, what's the main call to action that you need for your website? What is the main objective that you need? So if you don't have that very clear for your own company, um, you should definitely be looking out for this. If you already have a website and you cannot answer this question like in 1 second, you have a problem, right? So yeah, if you already have a website and you're like, I'm not sure what my main objective is, or you get confused between two, you are confusing your customers as well. So you need to be very, very sure of what you want as a primary objective of your website. If you have two primary objectives, you're already lost, right? So make sure you are keeping it simple, and make sure you have this as a website objective. Does anyone here has like a website, a business already? Can you raise your hand? No one yet? You're still thinking? Anyone here wants to create a business? Yeah?
Um,
Nas? Yeah?
yeah, so I guess it's more community building, building community, but my research project is actually currently lodged on a friend's website, and I want to create my own website domain so that I have control under what it looks like, essentially.
Mm-hmm. But was it easy for you to pinpoint what was the main objective of your future website?
Yeah, yeah, I think because I had kind of it was like my research project had a thesis within itself, so that kind of just became the objective moving forward. It's, how to get mental health information out there to others, essentially.
That's perfect. Yeah. So if it was easy for you, that's a great start, right? You know exactly where you're going for. So the next one is your domain name. The domain name is super important because that's how people will recognize you online. So when you choose a domain, you have to find one that has easy recognition and transmission, right? Um, Also, that represents the company name or what it does. Um, and sometimes you might have the perfect domain, but it's already taken. This is something that happens. For example, you have a very common name or something that someone already thought. You can also think of using alternate top level domains. What is a top level domain? Is the .com, .ca. It's the things that is after your domain name. So sometimes you might be able to get the same name with different top level domains. So let's say that my website, gabrielakurtz.com, it's already taken. I can take a top level domain that it's called .cc if it's not taken already. This will be good for you because you can keep your domain and it doesn't impact much on SEO. So it's a good idea to have, it's a good idea to think about those if you really want that domain and it's not available in the .com, for example. And also you have to be aware of the nature of your business when you're thinking about your domain. So let's say you are nonprofit, right? If you're a nonprofit, you cannot use the .com because that's for commercial websites, right? So you have to use the .org, for example, or the .ca if it's in Canada. So that's the same for example, educational institutions. So the top level domain kind of like indicates the main purpose of the website. And those like .cc, .info, they're a little bit more approachable and it's like for free. You can use regardless of the nature of your business. You can register your domain by using registrars or together with your hosting company. So depending on the service that you choose, you can register your domain in the same place that you're developing your website. This is one example of a company that you can register your domain. One thing that is important to know is your domain is not yours forever. You pay to use it, right? So you can pay to use it for several years, but if you forget to pay, someone else can claim it. So yeah, and that's a whole ordeal. So let's not forget to pay for our domains. The reason that happens is also for safety reasons, because you are connecting your domain to a regular address, to a person. So yeah, just in case, for any cyber crimes, that's easy to track. Then the next question is, what host is ideal for my project? I usually use this. It's kind of like a way to show it in a more visual way. Imagine that you're moving to a new place, right? Imagine that you are going to move to a different place, that you are going for, a different place. And then you start, okay, I have all this furniture and I need to find a house. Then you have to think, okay, if I have a lot of furniture, if I have a lot of things, it won't fit in just a room, right? It will fit probably a bigger house, right? In that case, you will move to a larger house. In a larger house, there are a lot of different things that you have to deal with. For example, you do the cleaning, you're going to take care of the safety. So you're going to be like taking care of the whole house, right? You're going to work out the garden and all of that. But let's say you don't have a lot of furniture and you don't have a lot of money either. So you're probably going to go to a shared house or a student dorm, and you're just going to have your suitcase and, some boxes. This means that you can choose a shared room because you're going to spend less money, but safety is going to be taken care of by someone else. The whole building is not being administered by you. And that's the main difference between shared and dedicated hosts. Dedicated hosts are pretty much, you have your own server your own computer, that you can put all the files for your website. And the shared one, you're sharing a computer with other websites. Same thing, right? It's way cheaper to go for a shared host, and it's more expensive to go to a dedicated one. However, if you have a bigger company, if you need extra security, you're going to go for your dedicated one. And if you are not, into getting a lot of security, if you are okay with no, occasional problems that might have, you can go for a shared one, and it's way, way cheaper. I'm talking about shared hosts. They usually cost about $10 per month, whereas a dedicated host can cost up to $600 per month. So it is a huge difference. Most of the times you won't need a dedicated one unless, you do have a larger company to work with. And there are a lot of places that you can host your website. As I mentioned, usually a lot of companies now, you can host your website, you can buy the domain, and you can create your website with the same company. HostGator is one example. They do hosting. You can put your domains, and you can also create your own website. They're a very good company, so it's a pretty good company that I highly recommend for hosting. And usually, if you do these kinds of services with one company, you get a lot of cool deals. For example, in HostGator, you can get a free domain for the whole year. So you don't pay for your domain, just for the host, which is pretty good. A lot of those companies, they do the same. So I highly recommend, if you're starting your website, start with one service, and do all the things at the same place: the hosting, the domains, and creating the website. Then next question, final one: which development platform should I choose? There are many, many platforms that you could choose. So many, it's hard to count. But you have to ask yourself a couple of things. First, do I have experience in programming? Because there are some platforms that are super robust and super good. For example, WordPress. But it is a problem if you don't have any experience in programming, because you might need someone else to help you out. You might do something wrong, and I've done it before when I was like an intern. I took a whole website down just because I moved the PHP file out of place, and it was a whole mess. So I would say, if you don't have experience in programming, focus on tools that are mostly interface based. Then the other one is, do I want to create a website that stands out for its looks? If you're using, normal templates, it's not going to stand out that much. But there are options where you can purchase unique templates or hire someone to create a good template for you. Do I want to create something fast? A lot of companies, they're now even using AI to ask you questions, and you come up with like the whole website structure ready. You just have to fill in the gaps. Do I need to sell products online? There are options that are better and options that are more complicated. And am I going to create a content heavy website? If I'm going to create a really content heavy website, you need to have really good blog features, for example. So those are some questions you need to ask. I put here a link for the Website Builder Expert. Here you can compare all the different platforms that exist. So you can answer those questions to yourself and find that comparison. What I recommend personally for beginners, if it's a business website or a portfolio website, Wix and Squarespace. They are super easy to use. You don't need to know programming to do pretty cool stuff. And, it's very accessible. It's cheap. Highly recommend those two for those who are starting. For e-commerce beginners, Shopify, 10 out of 10, really good service, super easy to use. You don't need, extra knowledge, and they do have all the payment methods inside the platform. So you don't need to be careful about any of those. They will take care about it. For robust websites, WordPress, that's definitely the most flexible one, and it is open source. So it is a cheaper option as well. And for companies with focus on strong CRM and lead generation, I highly recommend creating a website, but also having an account on a CRM tool. For me, HubSpot is the easiest one to deal with by far. I've worked, for example, with Salesforce. They are so difficult to use for beginners. So those are my like go-to. And just to show you, what are the possibilities that you can create, I will show you here my own portfolio. So I created this one just for fun. And this was created on Wix. And, it's interactive. You have colors in it. When you click, you can go to a different website. You can go to different pages. It has all you need. So, for example, I even have like ways, to jump to different pages. You can play around with it. You can find, this is my personal portfolio, but you can do a lot of fun stuff just using Wix. So yeah, this is, my portfolio. You can find it. It's a little bit outdated in the projects part, but it is, easy to do. And you can do all sorts of fun stuff. And yeah, this is my cat. So yeah, it's not because, it's a platform that, it's already made that you cannot have like some fun with it. So there are a lot of possibilities. It's just a matter of exploring the tool. Again, I had a question that was so interesting. Someone asked me, what are the free options that I have if I don't have money yet? Well, there are some free options for you to create your own website, but I don't recommend. Really, I would never say do a website for free. That's a good idea. And I'm going to explain why. Okay. First one, you will not rank in SEO. So basically what you're doing by creating a free website is you're creating a page as a subdomain of the main company. So for example, for Wix, if you're creating a free website on Wix, what you are creating is a subdomain on Wix. So this is not going to rank on Google. So yeah, it's not rankable. That's the main reason, I would say. We're going to talk about this further, but I would say that's the main reason why I don't recommend. Having your own domain allows you to be able to rank on SEO. You won't be able to create ads on Google Ads either. Therefore, what you're creating is a useless website. Then you'll be like, oh, but it's just for 6 months. It's just until my business takes off. Well, what happens with Google, with SEO, for example, which is search engine optimization, is the longer your website is online, the better it is for your ranking. Which means, yeah, if your website is very new, it's going to take a longer time for you to rank on SEO. So let's say you start a website today, it will take 2 months for you to be well ranked, even if you do your best efforts. So imagine that you created a free website and then you changed for a website with your own domain. You lost time, right? Without a domain, for example, you can't have a company email as well. It looks way less professional if you're showing to someone, oh, this is my Gmail address, right? So yeah, you won't be able to use email marketing platforms either. So I would say it's a useless website. It's just for show. And creating a small website is really cheap, right? Creating a simple website is so cheap. And it's the best investment you can make for your business. So yeah, as you can see, this is one example of Wix plans. I'm not getting any money from them. Okay. I'm not making advertisement for them. This is a disclaimer. I'm not sponsored by them, but just to show you, for the light one, you pay 16 Canadian dollars per month and you get, a lot of storage for a small, website for the beginning. It's less than 4 Starbucks per month. So make your coffee at home and create your own website. It's the best investment you can do, right? So yeah, even if you don't have money, you should have at least 16 bucks a month to invest on this. And it's the best thing you can do. Any questions so far? Because I've been talking for a long time, so maybe you have some questions. No? All good?
Give it a moment. for anyone in the chat, but also a reminder that you can unmute as well.
All right. Yeah, if there are no questions, we can move on.
Yep. Seems like your explanations are very clear.
Hopefully. All right. So now we're gonna start talking about the design of your website, right? We know what we're doing. We chose the platform. Okay, what's the design that we're gonna go for? So first, I would like to introduce you to the topic of UX design. This is a picture of a kitchen, as you can see. I would like to ask you, you can type it in the chat. If you were looking for cutlery, you know, forks, knives, and all those things, where would you look for first? Put on the chat. Which number is corresponding to the place that you would look for first? Okay. Most people put 1. Yeah, usually we put cutlery over here. Why do we put cutlery at the top drawer here? Do you know? Do you have any guesses? Functionality? Yeah, absolutely. Right? It's the first thing you grab it very constantly. So yeah, it's the first one, right? This is what good usability is. If you go to a kitchen and you can easily find the forks and the knives, it means that this is good usability. You don't have to think, right? It's automatic. If you go to someone's houses and they say, "Oh, can you please grab me a fork?" And then you go to the first drawer and it's not there, you're like, "Okay, what's going on? Is this person a psychopath? I'm so lost. What's going on?" So yeah, you'll be like completely lost, opening all the drawers, kind of like getting nervous. And this is pretty much what happens when we go to a bad website, right? If we don't know where to click, if we cannot find what we're looking for, it's pretty much, you know, bad usability. And this is my main example about what is UX design. It's pretty much, you know, doing it as good or bad. So I'll give you some examples of good and bad UX. So one of the websites that I would like to start talking about it is Zara, right? I'm going to share my screen with Zara's website. Let me go there. So this is Zara's website. Right from the start.
We can't see Zara's. Oh, there we go.
Can you see?
Yeah,
can you
we
see
can
it now?
see it now.
So right now, what you're seeing is Zara's website, right? Can you tell me where the menu is? Where's the menu? Can someone tell me?
The two
Left.
lines on the left.
Yeah, here, right? Okay. Look at this menu. Part of it is cut. It is really hard to reach, right? You can see a full list of things over here, right? Women, men, kids. But you know, it's a full list. And things get worse when you go down here. Look at how hard it is to read, you know, all the sections of the menu. So you can see the menu here, but it's kind of confusing. Should I click here or should I click here? And as you go down here, you know, some of them are easy to read. Some of them are really hard to read. Like this one, you don't even know what's in it, right? So even though it looks very pretty or, you know, experimental, it is a very difficult website to navigate if we look at it, right? It looks pretty, but the way that it is distributed, it can be very confusing at first. So yeah, you can see view all basics formal, but you know, you can see that it's not the easiest navigation that you can go for. Now let's compare with one that will give you some peace. Uniqlo's website. This one gives me so much peace. It's like a Marie Kondo of websites. It gives me so much peace. When I click on it, you know, I can see women, men, kids, baby. What they're doing here is they are like sectioning all the different categories they have. It's easy to see, very accessible because you can see the different contrasts. Every time you go down, you can still see the menu. It's easy for you to find it. You can see the new arrivals and you have help right at the top So it's very easy to find everything you need here. So this is the first, view that I would like to show you, good examples and bad examples. When you look at those, you can definitely see that one is easier to navigate and the other one is a little bit more difficult. So yeah, most of the times when I have my clients, they're trying to stand out, but I'm like, the best way to stand out is to be a very easy website for you to go, right? And there is a difference between UX and UI design. So UX is the part that it's going to be behind the scenes, like the interaction design, and the UI is the visual design. They are both very intertwined together. So the UI design is mostly focused on the visuals and the way that you're seeing things, and the UX is pretty much on the interaction, on the interaction side of things. So let's talk about the UX first. Information architecture. What is information architecture? It's pretty much finding a way to create a map of all the sections that you need on your website. What's the first thing that you should do? First, benchmark. Take a close look at your competitors' websites. Pretty much at what I did with Uniqlo and Zara. Look, if you're starting a fashion brand, look into those two and see, okay, this thing I really like about this website and this thing I really don't like. And then you can go creating your own concept of what is good and what is bad. What you can do as well is talk to people who would be your target audience and ask them, what are the websites you like, you think are easy to navigate? You can have a good notion of that. You're going to list all the information you need on your website. And my suggestion is divide the information following what we call the Miller's Law. Miller's Law is pretty cool because it states that the average person can only keep 7 minus or plus 2 items of information in their working memory at a time. This is why, for example, it's easy for us to remember telephone numbers divided in small portions. So yeah, for example, I can remember 440-867-5309, but I cannot remember easily all these numbers together, right? What you're going to do with your website is pretty much the same. If you have menu items, try to keep them at 7 or 5 or 3, right? So make sure you are going for odd, even numbers. This way you are helping them to remember and to be easy to navigate. It's not always that we're able to do that, but yeah, when you're able to do it because that's going to make a whole difference. And then, follow the common website organization for your menu. That's one thing. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. For example, one of the things that we see most in all websites is, contact page at the end of the menu. You should always put the contact at the end because that's where people are expecting. Remember the cutlery in the first drawer? So yeah, even if you're trying to be like super artsy, super experimental, it's going to be hard for people to find all the things they need. So make sure you are organizing it in a way that people are used to do. Okay. So don't try to reinvent the wheel. I once had, for example, a client that they hired a whole design company and they went crazy with the website. They had animations and they had things and they were like, yeah, we're trying to do things like a game. The person has to find the menu among all the clues. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not functional at all, right? People will be so like pissed about it, right? So we don't want to go for it. We want to go for something that is easy. There is even a book that I'm going to put here in the chat that it's called Don't Make Me Think by Steve Krug. It's a pretty cool book about UX. And it's pretty much what the name states. We want to create something that people feel like really natural to do and not make them think. Yeah, another of my mantras are people are lazy. So yeah, they are not going to take time learning how to use your website. They're going to choose the competitor. And yeah, I'll show you an example of good and bad information architecture. I have here 2 different restaurants in one in New West and the other one in Vancouver. First one, let me show you this, is Piva Restaurant. This one is near New Westminster. If you study, for example, at Douglas College, you saw this website. This is their website, right? Look at where the menu is. It's called Quick Menu. It's so hard to read. It's almost the same color of the background, right? When you click here, you will see a very nice menu, but until you find it, where is it, right? It's confusing. It's not easy to see. Even their logo, look at this, their logo is not showing properly here. So it's a problem, yeah? And when you move here, you're gonna get lost pretty quickly. You have here the restaurant, right? They have our story, customer reviews, and book a table. Let's click here, our story. You're gonna change for one. Okay, now I have book a table, testimonials, and gallery. Then I'm gonna go to testimonials. And then I have leave a review, but I'm already lost. Where am I? How can I go back? Maybe I can click here. But it's not the easiest experience. It's not a seamless experience. So every time you go down, the other problem is, look at how heavy this website is. It takes such a long time. I have really good internet here. So my internet is not the problem, but it takes a long time to enter on every page. And this is a huge problem for SEO as well. And all these animations, they're pretty, but they're dragging your website down. Now let's look at a less pretty, because this one looks pretty. It has like pretty images, pretty colors. This one is less pretty, but look at how easy it is for you to find everything you need, right? You have the about page, menu, hiring, shop, gift cards, and contact, and book a table. Biggest CTA, the main goal here of this website is to book a table, right? You can see that this is super easy. They repeat it here. They put, information. It's all you need, right? You have here all the different menu items. I would add pictures in this one if I were to be like super, super good. But as you can see, it's a simple website. It takes you to different pages. But it is a cool website, super easy, has enough information. And yeah, you don't have to go all fancy to create a good website for your business. You have to create something that is easy to go and be organized, right? So far, so good. Any questions? Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to talk about writing, right? First of all, I could not recommend enough this book. This is called Strategic Writing for UX. It is pretty much talking about how can we make our interactions online, on websites, apps, a little bit more like a conversation than an interaction with, technology. Because most of all, we are conversational beings. We are, humans that need conversation. So every time you're writing something for your website, think about the experience of your user, not as an interaction with words, but more like a conversation. For example, this one shows two different buttons. One says submit. The other one says start my free trial. Pretty much like a conversation, right? It's more natural. It says more. So every time you're creating buttons, you can go and crafting, the perfect call to actions as using, for example, active verbs. So active verbs and time-sensitive language instill a sense of immediacy. For example, book now, that's a good one because the now gives you a sense of urgency. Personal pronouns, it's pretty cool. You can use like me, my, you, yours. This cultivates personalization. So for example, in the first one here, start my free trial. This gives a little bit of sense of personalization. There's even like a research by Unbounce, which is an email marketing tool. They found that even just changing start your free trial by start my free trial increase clicks on the call to action by 90%, which is pretty cool. It's the more conversational it is, the better. Keep it succinct, ensure quick comprehension, front-loaded text, place the most vital information in the beginning, clearly communicates the outcome. So when you click, what's going to happen, and finish the sentence, in a way, okay, they should complete the phrase, I want to. So in this one, I want to start my free trial. I want to book my table. So yeah, try to answer those questions in your CTAs like that. This is going to help you a lot. I have some do's and don'ts here that I love. Here, very long, click here to choose a password. So long, The other problem here is the use of the word click. Click here seems fine, but imagine that a lot of people are now using mobile. They're not clicking, they're touching, right? So it is kind of like losing its meaning. It's like flash disks. A lot of people that were born after the 2000s, they don't even know what the save button is. It's an actual flash disk. So it's kind of losing its meaning. Instead, reset password. That's concise, small, but says exactly what's the next action. Don't use vague and generic labels that make the user read the dialogue before taking action. For example, yes and no. Use active verbs, delete, cancel. And tell users what they will get and not what they have to do. Sign up for rewards, that's one. And get my rewards. So that's what they're gonna get, right? So remember answering, I want to. This one's the Yogo. I want to reset my password. I want to get my rewards. So that's an easy hack to do when you're writing. Another thing for accessibility, that was a question that was asked as well. The best way to ensure that your website is accessible is by following the CCAG guidelines. So I'm going to show you the website. It's not a very exciting website, but it has all the information. This is the Web Accessibility Initiative. It's a global standard for accessibility in websites, and they have all the guidelines you need to make your website more accessible. So it's a really good guide. You can go and dive into those. I'm going to show you the basic things you should be careful, like the basic minimal things. But if you want to dive deep, I would say go to those guidelines, WCAG. They are amazing. They talk about all the different ways that you can make your website more accessible. I couldn't recommend this enough. And they have guidelines that are organized under 4 principles. Your website should be perceivable, operatable, understandable, and robust. So yeah, one of the examples of perceivable is contrast. You probably think I hate the Pivo restaurant website right now, right? I don't, but I do think they are a really bad example. Look at this. This is a very cool tool for you to test. It's called webaim.org. It's here. It's going to be on the slides that I'm going to send you. This is a color contrast checking based on the WCAG standards. They have 2 different standards, the AA or the AAA. The AAA is like the best case scenario. You want to aim for best contrast using the AAA. If you look at Pivo restaurant, look at the color of the background and the letter restaurant and the books and the CTAs here. They all fail. So if you have any visual impairment, for example, you're colorblind, you're probably not going to be even able to see what's in it, right? I have friends that are colorblind and they can't see it. It's impossible. If it's failing here, they're going to see as a blank page. So this is not perceivable. This is not good enough. Now, yeah, if I did the test of the other restaurant, the Volpi one, and they did pass. So you can try if you have your own website and test, the background. Usually it looks pretty nice and legible if you can see properly. But imagine a person who has any visual impairments, they will not be able to see this. So yeah, make sure you are covering this. Another thing is most of the times, if you're putting images on your website, people that have any visual impairments, again, they are not able to see it. And what they will see, they will probably have a screen reader. So the screen reader will read what is in the alt text of the image, right? So every time you enter an image on your website, you will have this option to add an alt text in every tool that you use, WordPress, Wix, Shopify. Every time you upload an image, you have title and you have alt text. Don't forget the alt text, okay? Unless it's a decorative image, you should always have a description of that. Because when that person is using a screen reader, they will know what the image is about. So make sure you are describing it to the best of your abilities. It's also a good thing, for example, for Google. Google cannot see the image. So it's also good for SEO. It's like killing two birds with one stone, right? It's good for SEO because you're able to, tell Google what the image is about. And you're also helping people, which is, amazing. Again, we're always trying to do things for the best, right? All good for now. Any questions so far? I know I've been going really fast, but this is like an overview, so.
Seems like you're good,
Good.
unless
Okay.
anyone wants to unmute.
Yeah, I can see a thumbs up. All right. So next thing up is SEO, right? How can we optimize our website, and how can we make sure that our website is optimized? So first of all, I'd like to say, okay, I'd like to share how search works, right? Most of us, we don't have it like clearly. So I'm gonna share sound here. I want to show you this quick video. It's a little bit old, so you'll see like things about the ads that are outdated, but they explain so well how SEO works that I would like to show this here. Okay, I'm gonna take the, yeah. Can you hear well?
Hi, my name is Matt Cutts.
Can you
we
hear
can
well?
hear it. We
Yeah.
hear it.
I'm an engineer in the quality group at Google, and I'd like to talk today about what happens when you do a web search. The first thing to understand is that when you do a Google search, you aren't actually searching the web. You're searching Google's index of the web, or at least as much of it as we can find. We do this with software programs called spiders. Spiders start by fetching a few web pages. Then they follow the links on those pages and fetch the pages they point to, and follow all the links on those pages and fetch the pages they link to, and so on, until we've indexed a pretty big chunk of the web. Many billions of pages stored across thousands of machines. Now, suppose I want to know how fast a cheetah can run. I type in my search, say cheetah running speed, and hit return. Our software searches our index to find every page that includes those search terms. In this case, there are hundreds of thousands of possible results. How does Google decide which few documents I really want? By asking questions, more than 200 of them, like, how many times does this page contain your keywords? Do the words appear in the title? In the URL? Directly adjacent? Does the page include synonyms for those words? Is this page from a quality website, or is it low quality, even spammy? What is this page's page rank? That's a formula invented by our founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin that rates a web page's importance by looking at how many outside links point to it and how important those links are. Finally, we combine all those factors together to produce each page's overall score and send you back your search results about half a second after you submit your search. At Google, we take our commitment to delivering useful and impartial search results very seriously. We don't ever accept payment to add a site to our index, update it more often, or improve its ranking. Let's take a look at my search results. Each entry includes a title, a URL, and a snippet of text to help me decide whether this page is what I'm looking for. I also see links to similar pages, Google's most recent stored version of that page, and related searches that I might want to try next. And sometimes, along the right and at the top, I'll see ads. We take our advertising business very seriously as well, both our commitment to deliver the best possible audience for advertisers and to strive to only show ads that you really want to see. We're very careful to distinguish your ads from regular search results. And we won't show you any ads at all if we can't find any that we think will help you find the information you're looking for. Which in this case, the cheetah's top running speed is more than 60 miles an hour. Thanks for
Yeah, I really like this video because it shows exactly how search works. And yeah, what we're looking for when we're doing SEO work is trying to be found in the organic results, right? So you will see ads usually at the top, but the organic results are the results that usually people will be looking at, right? Because we are very like avoidant of ads, so we know very well how to avoid ads, right? So organic results are the most trustworthy ones. So yeah, we're striving to come here when we're doing any unpaid efforts. And for SEO, I think we need like a whole extra session about this, but for SEO, here is the effort that you need to do to make sure that you are feeding Google to the best of your abilities. First one is on your pages on the website, make sure you have really authentic content. Google can detect AI content, so don't use AI. Don't do it. If you use it super carefully because they can detect it. Don't copy content from someone else. Do original content. For technology, make sure you're using the best technology possible. And usability, yeah, make sure your website is easy to navigate as well. For off-page, your reputation, which means, you know, make sure you have other links pointing to your page. Social, it also makes a difference. So make sure your social media is also active. And the local, if you have a local business, create an account on Google Business. Google Business makes you appear on, I'm gonna write it down so you don't forget. Google Business makes you appear on Google Maps, and you are able to collect and react to ratings. You can add pictures, so it is really, really good for your SEO as well. And yeah, there are a lot of tools, so I put just some here. We're running a little bit out of time, so I put some of the tools here that you can use to make sure that your website is doing well. The first one is Google Search Console. I can show you briefly how it looks. I connected Google Search Console with my own portfolio. And what they tell you here is which pages are indexed, what are the problems that are in the pages, which means those pages will not be able to be found on Google. If you have any performance, they will tell you those performances. They will tell the queries, so how people looked for you and found your website, which is pretty cool. You can see the pages that people looked more. You can see the countries. So it is a pretty good tool it's different from Google Analytics. This one is more focused on organic reach. So highly recommend you connect your website with this one. And for advanced users, you can use PageSpeed Insights. You can put your website address and you're able to check the health of your website SEO wise. This one has more like programmer stuff. So I would say you need programmers to figure a couple of things out. But there's this one for beginners, which is HubSpot Website Grader, where you can put your website and it will tell you if your website is good or not in terms of SEO, and you can address those problems properly. And just to close things out, keywords. I put here a list of keywords that you can use to check good websites. So Google Keyword Planner, this one is 100% free. You can test to see which keywords are the best for your website. We also have Google Trends that will show you what's trending on people's searches. Ubersuggest, pretty similar to Google Keyword Planner, but a little bit more intelligent. And also Asked, which is a pretty cool tool that will get you related queries based on your keywords. So a lot of cool tools that you can use. Make sure you explore them. And yeah, go check them out as well. And for your keywords, after you list all the keywords you want to put in your website, make sure you put in all the content. So along the content you write, in alt titles, in what we call meta tags, which is pretty much what you find when you look up on Google. And yeah, different pages, different development tools will have different SEO settings and features. For example, if you're developing a website on WordPress or Shopify, you need to install an SEO plugin. I highly recommend Yoast SEO. It's one of the most complete that you can find. If you're using Wix, they have a built-in feature. The best thing you can do for SEO is navigate through the SEO tool and check the opportunities for improvement. For example, Wix and Yoast SEO, they will give you step-by-step instructions. So you don't even need to look for a lot of information. They will give you all the step-by-step instructions. You don't need to be an expert. They will tell you what you need to fix. So that's how I would start, by fixing SEO. Yeah, I think that's it. We are running out of time, but I think I got it. But yeah, it's now it's up to you to see if you have any questions.
So I
Yeah.
am curious about SEO. So, for small business, because every websites know, like basically they all know about SEO, and if you're just show like new business, and is it possible to just use SEO to be able to pop up on like first few rows on Google, or like, is there a limitation of SEO, or we still really need to pay for like ads?
No, yeah, you don't actually, like, it really depends on your objective. But I would say for any businesses, the efforts of SEO, I would say the bar is really low. Even if you think, oh, the biggest ones, they do a really good SEO, they might not do it. For example, you could see like Piva Restaurant, their SEO is really bad. I've looked at it. So I would say there's no limitation to it. The more you can improve, the better it's gonna be. But it is a slow process. So, for example, if you have a client that is a small business, it's gonna take at least 3 months for you to see the results of all your SEO efforts, 2 to 3 months. So it is a small, slow process. And also, if it's a local business, make sure you use Google Business as well, because sometimes the Google Business results will show first. So even if your website is not ranking very well, the Google Maps one will be showing first. So yeah, you can play around with those things. For example, if your client is a restaurant or a local place like a dentist office or something like clinic or something like that, make sure you create a really good profile on Google Business and put your website link to it. The other thing you can do is use tools like listings, like TripAdvisor, Yelp. Being in those tools, you can also rank your website there. And they are tools that naturally rank better on Google. So this means that even if your own website is not ranking well, you have other options that people can access your website. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
no worries. Other questions? People are shy.
You can always type it in the chat if you don't want to unmute.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that, for ads, another thing, just adding up to following up on that question for Google Ads, it is not a cheap tool for you to use. And I would only use Google Ads first if I have the budget, but also if I have a very clear objective, and I can track that objective very well. So, for example, if I want brand awareness, I would say social media ads are way better. Or Google display ads, which is pretty much the banners. And if you want conversions or lead generation, go to Google Ads, Google search ads, or Google shopping ads. So I would say, unless you have a really clear objective, I wouldn't recommend using Google Ads because it's an expensive platform. Oh, any other questions? Sophia.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How do you balance the information you put on your website with, say, like private information? How do you know you're putting too much info? Because for me, I want to eventually make a website for me that's essentially my portfolio, and I want to know what kind of information should be on there and what would be too much, that it would sort of like breach my privacy?
Hmm. Um, I think that, for example, if you put, for example, your email available in your portfolio, I did it, but it's your choice because you can get some spam email. For example, in this one, I put my email, but it's like, an email that I don't care getting spam. But for example, I didn't put my phone number. One thing that you can do if you don't want to put your email is creating a form. So you can create like a full form so people can, contact you through the form. So you don't put personal information. And also for privacy, um, anything that you would like to be seen online, that's what you got to choose to put, right? So even if you don't want to put like your full name, that's good as well because it's a good way for you to protect your privacy. But about how much information you should put, I think it's mostly up to you. But my recommendation is at least don't put any addresses, unless it's a commercial business. If it's your personal portfolio, I would put either an email that you don't care getting spam or some forms so you can avoid that, right?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
What about for like, you're gonna need an about me.
Mhm.
What do you generally put in your about me?
So it really depends on what's your goal here. What kind of portfolio are you creating? Is it like for which kind of sector, for industry sector?
So, because I'm in computer science, so
Okay.
I want to use it as a way for me to show my projects that I've done.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see. So, for computer science, my main recommendation is using GitHub. You know GitHub?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the most popular platform for portfolios for computer science because you can put like all the files of the softwares or the different tools that you made. So I would recommend creating a GitHub page first. And you can also create your own website. But I think most of all is like, what kind of professional do you want to be, right? Again, sharing my own example. In the About Me section, I was really, really like laid back. Like I put here a story about like how I love anime, cats, and games, but this is like the persona I want to show, right? So this is like my personal brand. So what you have to think first is like, what is your personal brand? Like, what do you want to share with people, right? So here I put like some fun personal things, but just because that's my personal branding. I can show a lot of other examples of people who are super professional, talk only about the main characteristics and the main things. But it's really up to you. Like, how am I going to position myself in the market? How do I want to look for this specific market? So yeah, my recommendation is first be yourself, but also think what is your personal brand? Like, how do you want to look like? Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Hope it helps.
I know we are going over time, Gabriella, but are you okay to stay for just a few more minutes for one more question and just to close up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. We don't want to take too much of your time.
It's okay.
But the question I got was, what would you recommend as first steps for someone who's trying to sell a service, for example, workshops, and also sharing research?
Mhm. For selling workshops. And so the first thing I would say is start a good website with all the information you need based on your customers' perceptions. So I would say start looking at your target audience and make a really good study at what they are looking for. Where are they? Where they look for information. So maybe like interview some people, talk to some people that are your target audience so you can get a better vision of what they're looking for. Look at, benchmark a little bit, see similar initiatives or different initiatives that are, kind of like. So that's the first thing. Second thing is networking. One thing that is very hard to do is starting any business because you don't have any social proof. So I would say work on getting the first social proofs. If you have a workshop already, make sure you have some people that are testing it out just to give you some review. So you can put that on your website as well. One thing that really helps to sell things are social proof, having like real reviews, because people don't trust brands, people trust people. So yeah, get some reviews first. That it would be like maybe making your service for free for some people, or making your service more affordable, and having those people try your product or service out, and also get their reviews as soon as possible. Then I would create landing pages with exclusive offers to get people's emails, to start creating my customer database. Those landing pages can have like just a small snippet of your service. For example, I was working for a software company, and in this software company, they had the whole software to organize inventory. What we did is we created an Excel spreadsheet to organize inventory, and we created a landing page where people who were looking for organizing their inventory, they would, click on that, download it, use the tool, they see it's interesting, and they keep the relationship with us until they become clients. So yeah, try to find like what's the, we call it like rich materials. What is a rich material? Like maybe an ebook, something that you can offer for free as like a free sample in exchange for people's emails. Then you would use tools, for example, like HubSpot. They have a lot of features that are free, and you can start creating that relationship. For services, usually people need social proof, need time. So I would say that's how I would start. I hope it answers the question.